Hi everybody. I have decided to do this craft. It's kind of a little bit of using some things from Walmart. I came across these 3 gift bags and they're the burlap kind of thing. Not sure exactly if you would call it burlap or not, but they were $5 for 3 of them, so that's not really bad because I can use these in a lot of crafts. And I want this one for what I'm doing today. This red kind of candy cane stripe. And I'm going to be using all of these. And I could not find any of the little wooden blocks. So I'm probably going to either use this and repurpose it or use popsicle sticks. This I got at a yard sale. It is a huge, enormous, and it came from a kitchen of a very rich doctor who sold, well, I guess he passed away and then they were selling off his estate. And I got this at his estate sale for $3. I don't think they ever used it. But, you know, I've had it for a long time. I've never done anything with it. I figured, why not? I did get some sanding paper from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to sand this down so that I can paint this because I really don't want this as color. Now, I have to say, ladies, I've been binge watching all kinds of craft stuff. I can't remember whose I've seen this from. I mean, I planned on doing a mailbox DIY, but I wasn't sure. I was just going to use the inside of a wrapping paper tube to do mine. I've seen somebody using a, what do you want to call it? Plunger from the Dollar Tree, taking it apart, taking the handle off from the working end of the plunger, cutting out the part that the handle goes in and putting that back onto the handle, and then turning it upside down, putting it onto this, and then putting the whole handle inside of a bucket. I don't have any nice buckets at my Dollar Tree. I'd still have to cover it or paint it, and then you'd have to put the weight in it and the foam. I'm using this to kind of, this is heavy. This is extremely heavy. I'm using this to kind of give it some shape in the bottom. And this is going to be there, not the truck, this bag. So that's what I'm up to, guys. So come along with me. I went ahead and painted the handle with Waverly chalk paint in truffle. Yes, I finally broke down and bought some. The bottom of these bags aren't pleated, so I'm going to cut the bottom of the bag along the crease, and then I'm going to take a burlap from one of the messenger bags from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to attach the two so that they cover the bottom of the masher. When I do this, I'm also going to glue the masher down to the burlap and glue the sponge in there so that it has a filler so it's not flat. I went ahead and glued down the potato masher to the burlap and the sponge to the potato masher. After that, I took and glued all of the burlap up around and tucked all the corners in on the masher, and then I got ready to glue the bag that I got from Walmart down onto the burlap. This was a little bit tricky, and I should have grabbed a popsicle stick because I kept burning my fingers. So, yeah, that was a little lesson. I need to remember to grab a popsicle stick. This was probably a little bit of a tighter fit than I really wanted to have. And I do cover up all of this with some craft that polyfill that looks like snow later on. I kind of wish I'd gone ahead and used 2 pieces of the burlap from the messenger bags. It would have given me more room to work with, and then I may have had a little better outcome, but I still like the way it turned out in the end, and you'll see why. Now the handle's dry, I took the Waverly chalk paint in white, and I just kind of dry brushed a bunch on, and then I take a damp paper towel, the one I've been wiping my brush off on, and without waiting for it to dry, I just rub it all over, and that kind of gives it a whitewashed kind of look, and I really like this look. It kind of looks like an old post that's been out in the weather for a while. Here I take some popsicle sticks and I build them up like 4 high and glue them together, and then I glue them around the handle of the potato masher. I do end up having to go back and level it out. The potato masher's not exactly straight once you stand it up. I didn't realize that till I actually put the mailbox on top. So part of what you don't see is me actually fixing that later on in the video. I didn't show that part being fixed. I'm just using hot glue to put these all together. Some people might want to use wood glue or E6000 or whichever is your choice. But this is just an indoor piece, so I don't have kids or anything like that to worry about. So I just used hot glue. I'm kind of showing how I place them together, kind of like Lincoln Logs, kind of putting together like Jenga blocks. And just gluing it together around that and letting it dry. I did give myself an extra couple pieces to give it more of a flat area to glue to on the mailbox. As you'll see here, I glued a couple extra pieces on the top. This is the flat polyfill that I was using to make the snow with. And I just cut a strip off from the end and I just wrap around 2 layers. I wanted to do the 2 layers kind of to give it a little bit of dimension, and it worked out kind of cool. I like the way it turned out around the bottom. My original plan was to put ribbon around where the 2 pieces of material came together. I'm kind of glad now that I did the snow instead of the ribbon. It just looks a lot nicer than I think the ribbon would have in the long run. I trimmed off all the extra pieces and got ready to put the lights and the garland on next. Here I am putting the mailbox on top of the handle of the potato masher. And this is where I discovered that the potato masher is not level. The handle is kind of off a little bit, so the mailbox didn't sit square on top. And I had to add an extra little piece of wood after I glued the mailbox on the top. But it turned out okay, and I did go ahead and paint the wood brown afterwards, and it looked really, really cute. And you didn't really notice that I had to add an extra piece of wood in afterwards. So it all turned out really well. Somewhere through here, I actually lost part of my footage because somebody had called, and I don't know if the phone just didn't record or whatever afterwards. I'm going to go ahead and put the garland on next and wrap it around tight. And I do zip tie the garland down at the bottom, and I have a wicked time keeping the door closed on the mailbox. And I do zip tie the garland to the potato masher, and then I make like a loop with the garland to fasten and hot glue the battery pack to the lights. And that's what I'm doing here. And this is fastened to the back of the little striped bag. And then I try out the battery pack here in a second, because the lights, I wrap them around so they go with the, as you can see, they go, I'm wrapping them around with the garland and up over the top of the mailbox where the garland is. And this is where I kind of lost some of my footage, where I was making the little swag piece for the top of the mailbox. I lost that footage where I made it, and also where I put the white poinsettia on the post of the mailbox. And another spot that I did not include is me making the bow, because I stood literally between the camera and me making the bow. So that didn't get included. Here is the finished product, all lit up. I really like how this turned out. It's great for kids to put letters to Santa in, or, you know, countdown to Christmas on the front, and they can open it each morning and get out a treat or something, and put the how many days to Christmas and use it as an event calendar on the front with like just little numbers hanging off from it. So there it is, everybody. I appreciate everybody watching. I hope you enjoyed this little DIY. It's just, instead of using the plunger method or using what I was planning on using, which was a paper towel, or not paper towel, but the roll from the inside of the wrapping paper, I used what I had on hand. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.